Everyone, I need everyone to take a deep breath. Hold it. Hold it.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Hulkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching on YouTube or wherever you like to download your podcast, we are free. I appreciate your support. Do me a favor, show your appreciation because it means a lot to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, become a subscriber. It's easy. Click the red subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and because I come at you 5 times a week, Monday through Friday, hit the bell notification and you won't miss an episode. All right, everyone, you can exhale. Now you should be able to accept the fact that your USC Trojans have the number 4 ranked recruiting class in the country. June isn't over yet. Yeah, told you it was going to happen. Now, in order, here's your top 5. Georgia, Ohio State, Florida, the University of Southern California, Clemson. So again, I'm using the On3 cumulative scoring system, the way they put the class scores together. That's how they spit out the top 5. So when I spoke to you guys last time, on the last episode of Locked On USC, yesterday, USC had the number 5 class, and that included the additions of both offensive lineman Makai Sina and defensive back safety Marquise Gallegos. So again, show ended. USC had the number 5 class in the country, and then by the time that episode was done being produced, between then and sometime when this episode's being done, without any other additional Trojan bat signals being flown up in the sky. Actually, there was one around 9:45 p.m. last night on the West Coast. But usually, just getting one of those isn't going to move your class ranking up or down in the polls. But, Lincoln Riley and the rest of the USC football social media community was throwing up those late night, yoo-hoo! Look what's coming. So right now I'm kind of trying to figure out my best, who it was for. It could be multiple guys. It could be an offensive line guy. It could be a wide receiver. It could be a linebacker. We don't know. Now, there's speculation out there that Isaac Garcia, the offensive lineman from Corner Canyon High School in Utah, he's got USC. According to one report that you can find over there on wearesc.com, USC is one of his final 2 school choices. Now, with that said, he did tweet out a Final 4 list on Wednesday, Hump Day, that had USC, Stanford, Oregon, and Utah. Keep an eye on Stanford. Vianney Talamaavo, offensive line coach, he knows how to recruit. Just saying. USC is in his final 2, but he put out a Final 4 list. I don't know who the other second team is. Now, so I'm doing this show for everyone to watch Locked On USC on Thursday. That's when this will be out and available. I did not see any Trojan fight on, victory salute, bat signals thrown around. So again, the last one I saw was around 9:45 p.m. Tuesday evening on the West Coast. And I haven't seen anything to give me any clue who that could be for. So if you're making Locked On USC your first thing to do on Thursday, you should be anticipating the start of something special happening. Okay, so there were no commitments on Wednesday, Hump Day. No bat signal signs to locate. Told you Wednesday was going to be a day off. Thursday starts everything back up again. These next few days, literally can put an exclamation point on the summer recruiting cycle. If signing day was tomorrow, I could totally see a group of Trojan fans renting out a plane, attaching a banner to the back of it, and flying it around the school, around the Coliseum all day long, celebrating. Yeah, I went there. Why not, right? Just a reminder, USC's 2023 recruiting class finished inside the top 10, okay? But it also took a late walk-off kaboom when Lincoln Riley, he hit it out of the park with Deuce Robinson. Yeah, corny baseball analogies. Deuce Robinson loves baseball, and Lincoln Riley played a significant role in closing that deal. So, understanding that USC 2023 finished in the top 10, and it finished, obviously, with a lot of momentum. Let's compare that to 2024, because the 2024 recruiting class, it kind of feels like it's going to be one of those routes. And Lincoln Riley and his staff, they're piling up the runs in the last game that's ever going to be played in the Pac-12 park, in the recruiting competition. I understand and I accept the fact that USC has to play the 2023 season in the Pac-12. But again, I'm going to remind everybody, that's not who USC is recruiting against. They're building for the future. Their future is inside the big conference, the Big Ten. They're chasing Ohio State for that mythical recruiting national championship. The 2024 Big Ten conference rankings, as far as recruiting is concerned, if USC was, well, they are a part of it. So right now, USC is number 2. And they're behind Ohio State. So also, though, USC has 16 commitments to Ohio State has 16. Excuse me, USC has 15. Ohio State has 16. Michigan has 23. Yeah, so USC is second in the Big Ten in average prospect rating, behind only the Buckeyes. That's the blue chip score. The Trojans have a score of 91.85 player ranking. Ohio State, their score, a little bit better, 93.128. So who's next to commit? And depending on who and how many during these next few days, can USC crack the top 3 nationally? In the next segment, I'm going to talk about the list of guys who are ready, who are already in the class, and which ones could push USC's 2024 class even higher than its number 4 national ranking where it stands right now. But first, we want to talk about FanDuel, America's number 1 sportsbook in the country. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's number 1 sportsbook. Because right now, if you become a new customer, you're going to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So Dodger fans, just go to FanDuel.com/locked-on, and that way you can join today, and that way you also will not miss your chance to win a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Don't wait. Just go to FanDuel.com/locked-on to sign up for FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Hey, everydayers, make sure you check out tomorrow's episode. If you're not an everydayer, become an everydayer and check out tomorrow's episode, because something recruiting related is going to happen. And it could be more than just one. We are anticipating Draylon Miller, his announcement. It's been scheduled. I've been telling you about it for over a week now. But I just kind of hinted, could there be another surprise before he announces? If you want to get a little bit of the breadcrumbs to that, when you're done making Locked On USC your first listen today, head on over to wearc.com, and if you're not a subscriber, become one. All right. In this segment, as you can see on today's rundown, let's take a quick review of who's made their commitment so far. Look, I love my viewers and listeners. You catch everything. Honest mistake. It wasn't a slight on my part. I forgot to mention Jarvis Boatwright Jr.'s name. So, he will be the first person I am naming in the 2024 class for USC. 4-star safety out of Florida, Jarvis Boatwright Jr. 4-star safety, Marquise Gallegos. 4-star wide receiver, Ryan Pelham. 4-star cornerback, Marcellus Williams. 4-star cornerback, Dakota Fields. 4-star wide receiver, Xavier Jordan. 4-star tight end, Joey Olson. 4-star tight end, Walter Matthews. 4-star offensive tackle, Manesi Atiti. 4-star interior offensive lineman, Jason Zandamela. 4-star edge, Cameron Fountain. 4-star outside linebacker / edge, Elijah Newby. And then you've got a few 3-stars. And by the way, we're still early in the ranking for you guys who put so much weight into the star system. A lot of these guys, they're going to see their rankings rise. So the last 3 guys so far who have committed, you've got Makai Sena, offensive lineman, Brian Jackson, the running back, and Hayden Trader, offensive lineman. That's 12 4-stars and 3 3-stars. Let me give you a more specific breakdown. That's 4 defensive backs. That's 2 edge / linebackers, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 4 offensive linemen, 1 running back, and a partridge in a pear tree. So, when you break that down, that's 9 players on offense, 6 on defense. That's pretty good balance of the 15 guys. Let me break that down even further. Let me peel back another layer. 40% of the players are from California. 73% of that class are considered blue chippers. So, for comparison's sake, the 2023 class breakdown, you had 22 high school commits, 14 transfers. It was the most unique roster in the country ever assembled per Lincoln Riley. 45% of those players were from the state of California. 55% were considered blue chippers. 19 of them were on offense. 15 played on defense, and you had the 1 special teams. Actually, 16 on defense. I apologize. So, let's fast forward right back to today, June 29th, 2023. By the end of July 1st, by the end of the day, July 1st, USC could add the following players to the class that I just broke down for you. We know that Draylon Miller, 4-star wide receiver, he's anticipated to make his announcement. On June 30th, the day after, 4-star linebacker and Draylon's good friend, Ty Anthony Smith, is planning to make his announcement. No ceremony, just coming on social media. Draylon has a commitment ceremony. And if you want to find out as quickly as possible, you know, when I'm not over here doing the thing on Locked On USC, I'm doing my thing on wearc.com. Scott Schrader will be at that commitment ceremony. Take it that what you will. Take from it what you will. And then also on the 30th, a safety, Braylon Connolly, also from the state of Texas. And I said by the end of the day, July 1st, because on July 1st, David Polipoli, 6'3", all 305 pounds of him, defensive lineman out of Lansdale, Pennsylvania. He's one of 17 offers that USC has given out to defensive linemen. Yes, USC was late to the party, so we're going to see what Sean Nua can do, what Coach Sean Nua can do in the time he's been given to kind of lure him in. David's ready to make an announcement. Now, people are saying, well, who is this guy? You know, he's only a 3-star. Why are we going after him so hard? How many times have I told my viewers and listeners, don't put all of the weight on the stars. Your gauge should be who is offering these recruits. And here's the list of offers for David. And his list of offers is pretty much everyone. Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Washington, Auburn, South Carolina, Notre Dame, Pitt, Louisville, Wisconsin, Maryland, Kentucky, Miami, Vanderbilt. You see where I'm going with this? I skipped over some names. He's visited Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. He's visited USC. He's now ready to make a commitment. Could that be the first defensive line commit in the 2024 class? Stay tuned to Locked On USC, and you will find out. I'll let you know. Now, should USC get each of those guys that I mentioned, it would make the score offense 10, defense 9 in their 2024 recruiting class. Plus, at some point in July, you can anticipate hearing cornerback Xavier Brown announce his intentions. It's between USC and Alabama. You're going to find out what the number one running back in the country, Taylor Tatum, what he's going to do. It's still between USC and Oklahoma. And as each day goes by, I think that helps USC. At least that's the narrative I want to go with, because that's the positive way to look at it. As well as you've got offensive lineman Isaac Garcia from Corner Canyon, Utah. All three of those guys are anticipated to announce at some point in July. And I don't think it's going to be at the end of July. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. And let me remind everybody the carrots that are still dangling out there. Yeah. Local blue chip linebacker, one of USC's top priorities, Kingston Viliamu-Asa. Perhaps Peyton Woodyard. He's ready to, look, he's still committed to Georgia. He just got back from taking a visit to Alabama. We know he took a visit to USC. Look, I'm sure he feels very comfortable with his commitment to Georgia. And I'm sure he's just kind of confirming his feelings by taking these visits. But he's taking the visits. So we'll see. And then just kind of want to remind everybody, linebacker Dylan Williams from Long Beach Poly, he wants to take an official visit to USC in July when the dead period ends. So there's more defensive players out there that are still interested in USC, and that USC has a lot of interest in. We'll see what happens with Dylan. And then don't forget, we've got those uber elite national guys. Particularly defensive linemen that USC really, 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 not only do they want them, I think they need them. And I'm talking the names Edric Houston out of Buford, Georgia, and local prospect from Mater Dei High School, Aiden Braylon. I said a while ago on one of these episodes that Aiden was a must-get. Must-get for just strictly from the optics point of view of Mater Dei, top defensive linemen in the state of California. You cannot let those guys leave. So you can see USC's class is getting closer. They've got 15 commitments now. By the end of July 1st, they could have close to 20 or more, and that's at the high school level. But we also know things can change. We use the F word a lot in recruiting. And the F word stands for fluid. Yes, we use the other F word too. But again, it gets used a lot, and that's because things change so quickly in the recruiting world. But as you can see, the balance is nice as far as offensive defense to date in the 2024 class. And you can see the players that USC is still interested in and players that are interested in USC in. And these are all big name prospects. And there's still a lot of names out there that I haven't even mentioned. But, could a couple or three defensive linemen to supplement the 2023 haul? I think that's what everybody's looking for. I know that's everybody's big want, and it is probably USC's big need to really get a nice balance in the class. Adding 2 or 3 defensive linemen to what they've already brought in, that would be like really cool. And I know that would have USC recruiting fans. I don't know, maybe they would do a Frank the Tank. Instead of flying the plane around the Coliseum, around the university's campus, go streaking. I got a question. We're going to talk about it in the third segment. Are we still going to call it the Conference of Champions when USC and UCLA leave for the big conference? My question is this: is Bill Walton cool? Look, Bill Walton is going to have to come up with a new nickname for the Pac-12 Conference. I really think it's going to be time to retire the Conference of Champions nomenclature. Yeah, that's a word Bill Walton would use. If you need to, go look up the SAT word. And that, for that matter, not only should the name Conference of Champions retire, it's probably time for the great Bill Walton to retire from his seat, from behind the microphone. That way, he won't force himself to say it over and over and over again. Why am I asking this question, you ask? Well, does the big conference get to grandfather in the over 200 combined national championships that USC and UCLA are going to bring with them? Or did the divorce court say, no, you got to leave those as alimony payments on your way out the door? The Pac-12 Conference has won more NCAA national championships in team sports than any other conference, period. It's not even up for debate. It's not even close. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Just know that it's not even close. Maybe the SEC or the Big Ten is number 2. I don't know. I don't care. Here's what you need to know. Stanford has the most. They have over 120, maybe 130. I don't even know what their number is. I know UCLA has over 120. I know UCLA has over 112, 113, somewhere in there. Each one of those 3 universities have over 100. So a big chunk, obviously when USC and UCLA leave, 200 plus are ditching. Does the Pac-West now get to lean on Stanford? Because I promise you, between Cal, the Washington schools, the Oregon schools, Colorado, Utah, and the Arizona schools, you put them all together and they still don't come up to 100. I'm not even sure if they come up to 50. Yeah. Someone tell me what that actual number is. In fact, I'm going to go as low as, I think the number is 25. Somewhere between 25 and 50 combined when you separate everybody else from Stanford. Now, a big chunk of those national championships are what's considered Olympic sports. Track and field, swimming, volleyball, rowing, you get the idea. If we want to talk big game, the revenue producing sports, UCLA has basketball. USC has football. And then if you want to include the non-revenuing sports that both of those schools have a lot of national championships in, UCLA has softball, USC has baseball. The big conference isn't known for baseball or any of those Olympic sports. Volleyball is probably their best sport as a conference. So that there'll be some competition there. Back to the Conference of Champions, Pac-12 as it is today. Look, Bill Walton has kind of turned the Conference of Champions into a meme. He said it so often, people look for ways to use it as a goof. I mean, it's even turned into a drinking game for the students in college. I mean, every time he would say it during a telecast, college students they would down in a malt beverage, take a shot. So, yeah, it's probably a good idea to retire it just so we're not creating a bunch of alcoholics in the future. I'm kidding. Moderation, people. Anyways, so Stanford will obviously still keep the Pac West in the discussion. Remember, that's my new name for the conference once USC and UCLA officially leave. We're going to call them the Pac West. So, again, after you take away Stanford's national championships, like I said, yikes. I don't know what the number is, but it ain't good. You can't call them the Conference of Champions. So, live and let live. Leave those championships behind and start anew. Is that what they should do? Or should USC and UCLA just claim them? Kind of like Alabama and Michigan like to claim national championships. That's a whole nother, again, we'll talk about that in another segment, on another episode of Locked on USC. Because that's it for this episode of Locked on USC. We have come to the end. It went by fast. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I need you to make sure to watch and listen to the next episode. Become an everydayer. Because the next episode, there's going to be an update with USC's 2024 recruiting class. I'm going to have some news for you. So make sure you're here to check it out. All right. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.